Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Last week, as most of you know, we talked about the problems with authortube, which expands into the problems of YouTube, really. As a creative platform, we have all the makings of a pretty fine soap opera. But is that why we're here? This is why I am proposing a new YouTube tag, Creators Matter, and how that can make a difference. And that's what's coming up on today's episode. I'm Robert Jones, and you're watching The Story Detective. Creators. We are millions from very diverse backgrounds and very different forms of art. From writers, artists, musicians, actors, tech people, and we all need one another. No one is looking at validating creators. Politicians don't look for the creator's vote, even though it's millions of people. They lump us into other little categories where they can easily control and understand, and that makes it easier for them to cut creative arts in schools. And right from the start, kids aren't being raised with any kind of creative platform. In the absence of creativity, what this does is we don't have an outlet. Where there's no outlet for our passions, anger sets in. And when anger sets in, I think you only have to look at the world to see that play out. Creators matter, and if we can unite, we can change ourselves and maybe the world. But it all begins with us. We have to be the change we want to see. What do you want your channel to be? How do you want people to perceive it? What are your passions? As writers, we need artists to make our cover art. We need editors. We need tech people to format. We need music. We can help one another's channels grow. That's not happening on YouTube now. It's not happening on any of the smaller tubes. They become a very confined space. Algorithms, when drama happens, focuses in on whatever is getting attention. Why can't we give our passions attention? Why can't we refocus the algorithms on that? Now we have all these great platforms and opportunities, and it still seems like there's very little. There's a lot of things available, and yet, as creators, we're still pushed aside for those who are creating all the drama. So let's talk about Creators Matter. Creators Matter is an idea I have for a hub that encapsulates all that. A place where creators can come and share with one another. And if we're selling services, and that's been a big issue lately, why not bring it together in a way that has different tiers for different levels? Most people are having problems making ends meet. If you're an editor, I'm going to assume that you read books and you enjoy writing. If we can see the books that you like and enjoy you as a person, creators are going to come to you. It's not a cold business. You're not coming to somebody in hopes that you're going to get something and taking a crapshoot. You're going to someone in the community. On top of that, nobody wants to see a platform where people are sell, 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 sell. We want to get to know you. That's part of YouTube. Our channel is marketing us and our creative endeavors. It's not necessarily one commercial after another. If we give reviews or just point out people that have done interesting projects that we like, or had a good idea, or did our cover art, and we show that we're very happy with so-and-so, this artist, because they've put out a great cover, other people will go to that. We can network. Networking is what it's really all about. The biggest YouTubers seem to be those who are most controversial. Now that is a poor platform for creators to be on, and I thought this was supposed to be a creative platform. Again, not a soap opera. Now my girlfriend watches a lot of the makeup reviews, and I know some of you ladies out there have even mentioned it in your videos. The whole thing with Toddy Westbrook and James Charles. I mean, look at these things. They keep having these feuds where they've developed what's called a cancel culture, where they try to destroy one another. Then it blows away, and a couple of weeks or a couple of months later, they're right back doing what they did again until the next drama explodes. It was ridiculous. It's criminal. We do not want to turn into that. And if that's what this platform is about, it's going to be become a zero-sum mentality. What is a zero-sum mentality? It's in order for me to win, you have to lose. I have to cancel out your channel because it's competition. Like it's a sports game. It's not. As creators, I think we know that when we help each other out, we're building strength. Now, I've worked in the creative industry for a long time, and I know from a big business standpoint, they only invest in people that are guaranteed to make sales. The A-list, they'll get all the publicity, they'll get all the whatever, and everybody else kind of falters. They're left back in the pack. Those creators that are left back in the pack flounder. They do nothing to help one another out. They don't build one another up, even though there's ways for us to communicate and do that. So what we need to start doing is start building an area that's not the zero-sum mentality. If the next person has a successful channel or a great idea, everybody's success story is our success story. And if we lose sight of that, we lose sight of everything. So how can we start to make this happen? I think it starts with expanding and diversifying. Because if we expand to get outside of the small box and we can diversify where we have a variety of, not only a variety of creators, but a variety of cultures. If authortube wants to be young, white, female fantasy authors, it's not really authortube, it's young, white, female fantasy tube. And again, that's the algorithm's fault. That's because that's where the drama's been. Since I came to make my channel and I saw those tea videos, they just brought a whole bunch of attention to that particular part of the community. No one was looking outside of that little group to bring new people in and expand. Now, there's no such thing as a perfect group. There's going to be people who disagree with you. There's going to be people that want to get on their soapbox and rant all the time. To have those people in a group is pretty much a given. There's a difference between pride and ego, and you should always take pride in your creative endeavors. But that ego really doesn't serve you, because at the end of the day, it's just you in your studio writing your book. And even if you have a successful book, and I've been there where people praised my work when I finished something, and then you get on the next project and it's like, oh my God, what did I do back here? How can I repeat that? Why is everybody saying it's so good? You can drive yourself crazy. And that's where ego comes in. It's detrimental, and your next one is going to be different because you can't duplicate what you did before. All you can do is keep having fun and keep striving. No one's opinion is invalid. And even if we don't agree with someone's opinion, we can agree to disagree respectfully. While putting this together, I saw Jenna Streety's video and her thoughts on rebooting authortube, and I completely agree. authortube has too much potential to just vanish because of a few bad apples. Initially, I stayed away from making an authortube tag because of those tea videos and the drama. However, if you want changes, you have to take some responsibility and get involved. And so I will be making my new authortube tag next week, and I suggest others do likewise. Creators Matter is not an attempt to tear authortube down, nor is it a replacement. It's more of an adjunct, like building an addition on your home. It's a way for creators to have multiple lines in the water. By hashtagging authortube and Creators Matter in our videos, it forces those algorithms to expand. It doesn't confine us to one small box. It can broaden views for our individual channel and expand the platform by breaking down those walls which attempt to define and confine us. We are not a one-size-fits-all brand that business and the world tries to force us into its mold. We have to become the inventors of our own universe. And we are. Our choices shape our lives and those we connect with every single day. Creators matter. We know why they matter. But let's look at some questions. I only have 5. But they encapsulate, I think, who we are, and we can expand on it as much as we like. Question number 1. What are your creative superpowers? I always would write my own stories, draw my own comics, And those were the two main things, with drawing and writing. As far as my creative professional world, that's what I did. I worked in the comic book industry for over a decade. I've seen people that went to school to learn how to draw and write, and I've seen people who were self-taught. The great thing about the comic book industry is if you practiced and got your skill level up there, it was very welcoming for creators. At least it was at one time. It's a lot harder now. Question number 2. What is your current work in progress? My current work is twofold. I have 2 different series of novels that are both in progress. The one that I'm going to launch first, I have in a series of 4 novels. I've created an arc which will be the first arc in the series, and I'm almost through with drafting on that. And once that's done, I can begin editing and hopefully get something out there, maybe later this year, maybe early next. The second series that I have started, which will probably be the next thing I do, is a little bit different. It's a science fiction series. One is a bit of a mystery, literary mystery, I guess you might call it. I want to put that out there from the beginning and try to, as a creative person, put out different things, because I don't just have one interest. I think that it's possible in today's world to be, well, we have to be our own creative studio. We have to be our own production company. And there are channels on TV like the History Channel that gives you nothing but history, and the Mystery Channel that gives you nothing but mystery. But most networks and most things like Netflix, HBO, they give you a variety. They're not giving you one thing. So why are we as creators limited to doing just one type of genre? I may use a slight variation on my name when I put these out so that people can tell the difference between my stories. But if I get through one series at the halfway point, start launching another, so I have various things coming out there, I have diversity. I am a production company. And why not? What inspired you to start your channel? And if you don't have a YouTube channel, what would inspire you to start one for yourself? I think for me, I can't really separate craft and writing. If you love writing, I think you like to read books on writing and learn about craft and hear about other writers' adventures and their process. So to me, you can't really separate the two. So I wanted to start a channel where I could talk about craft and where I could share some of the things that I've learned, and also, again, build other creators up. I wanted to form that network since I started because I thought that's really what it would be about. I also want to encourage people, and since I was a kid, I wanted people to examine their own creativity. For me, looking at the world when I was pre-teens, I would think, I don't know how people that aren't creative survive, because it gives me so much. I don't think there's a friend that I ever had that didn't try to draw their own comic books or write their own stories back in the day, because I told everybody to try it. If it wasn't their thing, that's fine. But maybe if you take a step forward in your own creativity, it may not be the right step, but that road will lead you to other roads and you will find yourself. Question number 4. What would you like to see more of on this platform? For me, I want to see more videos on writing craft. It doesn't have to be a polished opinion or a professional opinion. We discover things every day when we're writing. And creators, as they're creating, whether it's something that we read in a book or something we discovered, it's all about discovery. If I see creators who are making videos out of their passion, sharing what they do, we can all learn from that. I learned about writing from looking at comic books and sequential art and fusing storyboards, comic books, and writing. It's all connected. And I think there's a real bias in the creative industry that people don't look at one another's creativity. There was a time when comic books before the movies was considered like the ass end of the creative industry. They were not taken seriously at all. And I knew literary authors, and I would talk to them about writing, and they would talk to me at first and think, okay, you seem to be going in the right direction. And I said, I'm working on comic books. And they would be like, why don't you go write a graphic novel, something that you're qualified to do? Because they couldn't see that level of being creative competing with their hierarchy of being literary geniuses. But you can't really snub somebody else on the next level, because until you understand that level and the art form that comprises, how can you judge it? And that closes you off. You're not learning. You're saying I've learned everything I can in my genre, but I'm not going to look elsewhere to see what the next guy knows. I don't really agree with that. I think we can all learn from one another. Networking is also sharing. Sharing is learning. Learning makes us all better. It's a no-brainer. Question number 5. Do you currently or aspire to selling services? I don't sell services. I thought about it, and I still think about maybe doing it in the future. I've helped a lot of artists and writers get their first jobs when I was working in the comic book industry. And to me, that was fulfilling. That was sharing. But in terms of selling services, we all have to make a living, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think coming into this, there needs to be an understanding and a respect. Creative people know what a good book reads like. They know what good editing looks like. Selling services means giving somebody quality and worth. I didn't want to take the time out of my own creative projects to fix somebody else's, because that could become my job, and I want to actually devote my time to getting myself, my own production company up and running first. Amanda Palmer said something in one of her videos that made me think differently about services. She puts out music and she does crowdfunding, and she said something like, the tip jar is on the table. If people want to put as little as $1 in it, that's great. She has her Patreon set up for that. I'm not going to say it's required that somebody leave a tip, but I think eventually something like a Patreon or a coffee to say, okay, the tip jar is on the table. If my channel should explode with a whole bunch of criteria that meets with YouTube, would I monetize it? Certainly, because that's not coming out of the creator's pocket. That's coming out of YouTube and Google's pocket. Creators can make money by affiliate links through Amazon and things like that. There's ways that we can all do it and leave that tip jar there. And there's videos that I'm going to do in the future that discuss those things. It's a matter of integrity and transparency with how you do it and why you're doing it. I hope that I will see lots of people doing this tag. I hope that I'll see lots of links below. I hope that people will share with me the creators that they like, people that need some attention. And I hope that everyone can take advantage of this, because creators matter. People that have a passion for being creative on a creative platform. And it should not be the soap opera, because what our heart and soul is in, when we find that type of passion will draw attention. We can make this happen.